JD Vance is a hack, okay? This is where everyone's pretending like he's he's this. It's funny because the criticism of JD Vance getting picked is, here we go. This one's good. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I guess it didn't work. It's saying I'm live on Rumble, but I'm not. I don't know what's going on. I do not know what's going on. All right, well, instead, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add Twitch to it. Hopefully that'll work. All right, well, hopefully that'll work. Let me know if somebody is in Twitch and is watching this stream. Let me know that you're here. That way I know it's connected. Okay, so here's the thing about, hey, Mohammed. Hey, Mohammed. So here's the thing about JD Vance. JD Vance is a hack. All of the media will either tell you that he is either a working class whisperer, okay? He really cares about the workers. And then Mohammed, okay, I guess I'll do a really quick. Okay, O'Day. Hey, O'Day. O'Day is a member. And if you're not a member, you should become a member. O'Day is a member and also an extremely generous person who has sent many super chats and given memberships and all of that. You're wonderful, O'Day. We're talking about JD Vance getting picked as the Republican vice presidential nominee. And, oh, that's so funny. You added a little in emoji. I love that. And he is a Zionist shill. He's a hack. He, like all politicians, works on behalf of the Israeli regime. And he's a creation of Silicon Valley billionaires, okay? So that's why we need to talk about him. And the thing that makes me crazy is that you've got, on the one hand, JD Vance's defenders that say, oh, no. He's awesome. He's like pro-working class. He's not pro-working class at all. Why? Because he wrote Hillbilly Elegy? Because he supposedly grew up in Appalachia and then completely sold out his entire community, moved to California. Literally a venture capitalist, became a venture capitalist. That's like against everything that he claims, folks. And then turns around and becomes a simp for all the powers that be. He's supposed to be there to appease Silicon Valley and the billionaire class. And then people turn around and go, oh, he's pro-working class. Get out of here. Actually get out of here. It's so ridiculous. It's ridiculous. We're not. And then you've got the people that criticizing him. Instead of criticizing him on that, you know what the Democrats do? Because they're so useless. What do? They criticized him for the fact that he used to shit on Trump. Who cares? Yeah, he used to shit on Trump. He used to be an never Trumper or whatever. And now he's a simp. Who cares? That is not the way you attacked him. Oh, how do I turn him on, Zach? Oh, no. Okay, I'm going to try to turn my gifts on, but in the meantime, we're going to watch this. Listen to what he says here, which is true.
You know what I haven't done? I didn't start a fake nonprofit pretending like I was going to help people with addiction like JD Vance did. Literally started a nonprofit and didn't spend one nickel on anybody. In fact, he brought in somebody from Purdue Pharma to be the spokesperson for the nonprofit. The same drug company, Big Pharma, the big drug company that had all the pill mills going, got everybody addicted. 1 million people died, JD. 1 million people died. And you started a nonprofit to try to take advantage of people in Ohio. And you know what? All you did with it was launch your political career. His campaign manager worked for that nonprofit. He ran a poll to check his own standing from that nonprofit. I'm not going to take a backseat to you or anybody else on fentanyl, drugs, or immigration or anything else. Somebody that, you know what I haven't done? I didn't start a fake nonprofit pretending like I was going to help people with addiction.
This is the kind of scumbag that we're dealing with when it comes to JD Vance. He literally promoted himself as being somebody who was going to help the opioid crisis and then created a fake nonprofit. And then to add insult to injury, hired someone from Purdue Pharma, the company that got away and was responsible for the deaths of thousands of people from his hometown. It's just, but it's like no one cares. You know? It's like what does he say in the oh my gosh, why am I so, how do you, it's kind of like how when we are watching that Richard, oh, I'm gonna have to do this after. Yeah, I don't know how to do it, Zach. Ah, I don't know how to enable GIFs on Twitch, so I'll have to do it after. Anyway, I'll have to figure out how to do it after. Okay, but anyway, that's how much of a piece of crap JD Vance is. Mohammed, that's true. They do consider a fake nonprofit a successful operation. JD Vance could be a viable option for both parties and no one would even notice. True. That is, where's the lie? Okay, so then there was, so people were trying to pretend that he was pro-union just because he just walked up to when they were picketing and just did a photo op. Okay? He's not pro-union. That's why I cannot believe Sean O'Brien. I was about to say Sean Fain. Sean O'Brien being thanking JD Vance or whatever yesterday in his RNC speech. I'm like, what are you even talking about? And people are trying to carry water for him today and be like, yeah, he's pro-worker. It's like, I'm sorry. Last time I checked, this is his record, okay? Senator JD Vance, score from the AFL-CIO, 0. Votes cast with working people, 0. Okay, so I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They're like, oh, I don't okay, I understand why Sean O'Brien went to the RNC. That's not why I'm criticizing him. I understand why he went, because labor shouldn't be a partisan thing. People should be competing for labor's endorsement. Labor should be a bipartisan thing. So I'm not mad at him for going. What I don't understand was why we needed the very unnecessary compliments to Josh Hawley and JD Vance. For what? For empty rhetoric? for empty rhetoric on working class people. I don't give a shit what kind of rhetoric they come up with if this is their voting records. Like, this is what makes me insane. So many people are just okay with vibes. Like the vibes. Like, oh, I say I'm pro-worker, okay? I say I'm pro-working class. You know, I'm Trump. I say I'm pro-working class. How about the votes? How about the votes, Jack? What is your voting record? When has JD Vance voted with working people? Not at all. The PRO Act, that bill that has been sitting there for a long time, waiting to get support, that would protect labor unions. Guess how many Republicans supported that bill? None. None. You must calm, dear. All right, hi, Bader, but we're gonna nip this in the bud right now because this is not happening. First of all, I really don't like when people address me as dear. Okay, that's just weird. Number one. Number two, I am not going to calm down. Never. First of all, this is just how I talk. I'm not even that mad right now. I'm not even freaking out. But this is just how I talk. But also, you should be freaking out. Everyone should be freaking out. You should be furious. So do me a favor and don't ever say that to me again. Thank you. Okay. So in any event, this guy's a fraud and he has never cast a single vote with working class people. So I don't really understand why Sean O'Brien was doing that. Like I said, I understand why he went to the RNC. I understand why he gave the speech because the Republicans don't hear it enough. Conservative voters don't hear it enough. So I'm glad he did, but I don't think that it was necessary to give credit to JD Vance, who has done nothing for working people, and Josh Hawley, who's also done nothing for working people. Okay, so what he's there for is to give the illusion of working people while simultaneously doing the bidding of Silicon Valley and the elites. That's the plan. This is what I need you guys to all understand because it really, really simplifies it. Our country is incredibly corrupt. We don't really have the choices that they act like we have when it comes to voting. And everything is a mirage for the people that actually, on behalf of the people that actually control the country. The people that control the country is a very small number of elites and corporations and the Israeli regime. That's really weird, Tom, because my super chats are on. O'Day sent me a super chat earlier. That's very weird. That's so odd. That's very strange. I'll have to check that later, but if somebody also wants to become a member on Ko-Fi, you can become a member on Ko-Fi too. So our country is completely controlled by a very, very, very small number of elites and the Israeli regime and corporations. And all the politicians do is it's Hamas. It is Hamas. That's who's messing with my super chats. I knew it. And the very small number of elites are the ones that control the country. And so what they do is they give us this illusion that we have all these choices. And they do that by creating people like JD Vance. JD Vance was created in a lab by Peter Thiel. And so he goes out and he does his little Meemaw Peepaw thing. And then he legislates and works on behalf of Peter Thiel, the wealthy, the Israeli regime, the 1%, and Silicon Valley. That's how this game is played. That's how all of this is. And it's the same with Trump. Because don't even come in here and be like, yeah, but Trump is different. You know, he's for the working man. No, he ain't. He didn't do anything during his administration except for give tax cuts to the rich and corporations. And he was given this cycle $100 million by Miriam Adelson, the wife of Sheldon Adelson, who has since died and gone to hell. And it was given to him so that he'll annex the occupied West Bank. That's why. Miriam Adelson is a lunatic. And oh, yay. Oh my gosh, you guys, I think I got sunscreen in my eye. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Tom. Yay, it worked. Thank you, Tom. I think I got sunscreen in my eye. Actually, Hamas did. Hamas put sunscreen in my eye. So thank you for the super sticker, Tom. So, yeah. So anyway, that's what all of this is. So just do me a favor, everyone who is in here and watching. When you see them talking about a politician that is supposedly pro-working class, working on behalf of you, fighting the elites, no, they're not. There is an elite behind them. Just imagine a person behind them. Just imagine a person behind them. Imagine JD Vance standing there, and what you see behind him is Peter Thiel. Because that's who they were. When people say, why doesn't anything ever get done in this country? It's because of gridlock. No, it ain't. The reason why nothing ever gets done in this country for you, for regular people, is because that's not who they work for. They don't work for the American people. They don't work for normal people. They don't work for everyday people. They work for people like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk and the Israeli regime. That's why when it came to all their bullshit anti-Semitism legislation and banning TikTok, they did it immediately. They did it immediately. They wasted no time. Super chat wasn't working. What? See, I don't know. I don't know because I haven't gotten any super chats from anyone during this live. Except, well, no, that's not true. O'Day sent me a super chat. So it worked for him. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, and so here's the other thing too. Everybody that thinks that Elon Musk is like base because he does epic like right-wing memes and owns the libs, you're embarrassing. Like you're actually really embarrassing. You're just simping for a billionaire. And the reason why he's supporting Trump is because he has his hands in like 20 different companies and governments all around the world and he wants favor. That's why. When people say, oh, the reason why Elon Musk doesn't support Trump anymore is because the woke left. That's not the reason. It's because when Obama was in office, because they're like, oh, we voted for Obama. That was in the early stages of the tech bro era where tech still had a halo effect. And so Democrats were very warm to the tech companies and in return. That's gone. That's been gone. So give me a break. He is owned by Peter Thiel. And then you've got people like Elon Musk being all, actually, I'm so epic and I, am really just not beholden to anybody. He's just a right winger, you guys. That's all he is. He's just a right winger. He's an oligarch and he's a plutocrat. Who posted this? And I was like, yes. Forget her name. Here we go. Elon Musk said that he's committing $45 million a month. A month. Not once. A month. He's committing $45 million a month. That's insane. Like, genuinely insane. And we're supposed to believe that Trump isn't owned? We're supposed to believe that Trump isn't owned. O'Day, thank you again for the super chat. The reason why you never liked him is because he's a fraud. He's a fraud. He pretends to be like pro, I'm just, hey, I'm cool. I'm with it. He's just a right winger. He is, a total simp. And he basically bent the knee to the Zionists, which is incredible. It's incredible how quickly he bent the knee to the Zionists. Alina, oh, thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Because, we're not getting $45 million a month. That is the thing that really also gets me about this, that the money that the money that we allow in our politics, right? The money that we allow in our politics is fucking disgusting. This is not a fair system. This is a joke. This is an oligarchy. Why is it? And like the framing of our world is insane the way we frame things. So like they call it crazy. The right wing calls it crazy that Biden proposed a rent control cap on new rents. That's crazy. But what's not crazy, supposedly, is giving $45 million a month to a candidate? What do you call it? This is bribery. This is bribery. This is not democracy. Who do you think's vote? We're supposed to live in a democracy, one person, one vote. Who do you think whose vote counts more? Yours or his? $180 million. $180 million is how much he's going to give him if he's giving it to him for 4 months. So whose vote do you think matters more? Yours, the regular citizen, or the guy who's giving him $180 million? And he's already contributed to him before. And yet we still pretend in this farce that we live in a free country with free and fair elections and that it's one person, one vote in a democracy. This is a joke. They're just playing in our faces. She wrote, the legal max a person can donate to a candidate is $3,300. But when billionaires like Elon Musk exploit our broken campaign finance laws to donate $45 a month, we're no longer living in a democracy. And it's no longer an election. It's an oligarchy and an auction. Correct. This is not a democracy. O'Day. Where's the democracy? I can't see it. I know. It's like when they say that Israel's the only democracy in the Middle East. Like, it's ridiculous. And we act like we're better than other countries because we have a democracy. No, we don't. I do believe in voting, Michael. I think that everybody should vote, but I understand why people don't because of shit like this. What's the point? I understand why people feel like that. What's the point? Because your vote, your one vote in this supposedly equal democracy is not going to compete against $180 million. This is not a fucking election. This is literally an auction to the highest bidder. Hit the like button. Yes, please. Thank you. Hit the like button and share it. I hear you, Michael, but not voting is not really a protest. Okay? I don't mean to sound like harsh or whatever, because I totally understand this. I used to not vote. But let me tell you something real quick. Not voting is not a protest. It is exactly what they want. The biggest share of people in this country is not Democrats or Republicans. It's non-voters. And most of them don't vote for the same reason that you don't and why I used to not. Because you're like, what's the point? This system is incredibly corrupt. What is the point? I get that. It is really corrupt. But yeah, you're disenchanted. I totally hear you. And you're not wrong. Like the system is really corrupt. But I don't, for me at least, I don't think that just not voting at all is the answer, because all it does is continue it to empower the status quo. I'm not saying it's going to fix anything right now, but it certainly doesn't empower you, because, and it certainly isn't a protest, because that's exactly what they want. There is a famous clip from the 80s where I think his name was Lee Atwater, where he talks about why they don't want people voting. I think it's Lee Atwater. Maybe it's not. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? I thought it was Lee Atwater. I would think that if it was him, it would come up on Google search or X. Was it him? Yeah, it must be someone else. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? JT, thank you so much for the super chats. I love you. I appreciate you. That is a really cute cat. Is that cat real? I thought you couldn't ask questions on ChatGPT because it only went up to like 2020 or 2021. Okay, anyway, I'm getting off track because I wanted to find the clip, but I wish there was like an easier way to find clips. Are you guys able, let's test this out together. Are you guys able to test out sending me links? Like, will it let any of you send me a link in the chat? It searches the web now. It does? ChatGPT does? The comments aren't refreshing? I'm seeing them on my end, I think. Who said quite candidly, it's better if they don't vote? '80s. I think it was in the 80s. Here it is. It was Paul Weyrich. Paul Weyrich. That's who it was. It was not Lee Atwater. Lee Atwater was the Southern strategy guy. Okay. I found it. Found it. We got it. Okay, Michael, are you still in here? Because if Michael is still in here, I want you to listen to this right now, okay? Listen to what this guy says. This is from like the flippin' 80s. Yeah, 1980. quite candidly, our leverage in the election goes up as the voting populace goes down. Fair use. Sorry, Mohammed. I didn't realize that I still had that up. Wait. I don't think that's going to be Tom. I don't think Tom that shouldn't be a fair use thing because or a problem because it was on X. I got a copyright on the Lester Holt thing I did, and I couldn't figure out why. Some people were saying it was because of the fact that I played the whole interview. I don't know. I honestly don't know. There is no way for me, because I'm not as familiar with how this works. There's no way for me to totally understand like what you're allowed to use and what you're not allowed to use. Because I see people use clips from YouTube all the time without a problem. But then sometimes there'll be a problem when I use a clip or when somebody else uses the clip, but it depends, because some they let you use a little bit. Yeah, some you can use like a little bit of, some you can use if you make commentary on it. I don't know if the reason why it happened with the Lester Holt thing was because I played the whole thing, or the Biden thing, George Stephanopoulos thing is what I meant. Oh my gosh, the Biden thing, that was so embarrassing. Yeah, theater, but the clip I played was pretty short. So, and it was on Twitter. It wasn't on YouTube. So hopefully that'll be okay. O'Day, everybody should vote. Change needs cumulative and collective efforts. Allah says in the Quran, God does not change the condition of all people until they change what is in themselves. That's a good point. Thank you again for the super chat. O'Day is so generous. Yeah, so the thing is, I believe that everybody should vote if you can. Because again, I am not arguing at all that our system is not trash. Our system is trash and it is incredibly corrupt. But how it got there was because a minority of people took voting and politics very seriously. Well, Michael, you don't have to vote for Biden or Trump. But voting for Senate, voting maybe third party, voting for your city council, like all of that is important. And it's important to look at yourself as a citizen who participates in your society rather than just a bystander. So going back to my original point, the reason why I say it's not a protest is because it's what they want. Like they want you to not vote. They want people to be disenfranchised. Guys, why do you think it is that the politicians never try to get out the vote to non-voters? Why do you think that is? There are way more people in this country that don't vote than people who do. How many non-voters in America? Look at that. You guys see that? The $100 million project. The $100 million project helps dispel outdated assumptions about non-voters. These are our fellow citizens. This is kind of interesting. I've never heard of this place. I'll have to look into this more. During the 2016 election, Nearly 100 million people, almost half of the eligible voting population, did not cast a vote. And they like it that way. Why do you think that they never spend any time trying to get out non-voters? Why aren't you trying to get those people? Why? It's really, that's why I find it so funny when the right wing is like, voter fraud. Voter fraud is not only not a thing, but what I find also really funny about it is that most people don't vote. Like half of the freaking country doesn't vote. You're not, how are you worried about voter fraud when people can't even be bothered to vote? Yeah. And the reason why, Michael, no one comes looking for you is because they don't want you to vote. They are perfectly content with having you not voting. It's just because as that guy said all the way back in 1980, their leverage and their power goes up the less people vote. And again, when we kind of look at where we are right now, and I'm not saying this to be shaming or blaming, like this just is what it is. Because like I said, I never voted until 2016 for the same reason. I was like, what's the point? They don't care what I think. This country's corrupt. And I still understand why people feel that way. But like the thing is that the reason why they were able to turn this country into what it is now, which is basically a kleptocracy, like a fucking plutocratic oligarchy where we have auctions instead of elections, and the highest bidder of a corporation, an elite, or the Israeli regime decides our elections. And how that happened was because there was a radical right that spent decades playing the long game. That clip from 1980, that guy was one of the guys that was like in the Heritage Foundation. That guy worked for the Heritage Foundation. Who's the Heritage Foundation? They're the think tank, the lobbying organization that wrote Project 2025. And then you've got the Federalist Society, okay, that like was the one who handpicked Trump's Supreme Court nominees, his justices. All of that stuff. And why did they want the justices? So that they could make bribery legal for all the Supreme Court decisions that we're seeing now, whether it's Roe v. Wade, whether it's destroying the Chevron doctrine, whether it was Citizens United in 2010, which opened the floodgates for money in politics, and for people like Elon Musk to give $180 million to Trump, and for people like Miriam Adelson can give $100 million to Trump so he can annex the occupied West Bank. Like all of this stuff, you guys, is connected. All of it is connected. It's all connected. And the reason why they're glad when you don't vote is because they want to have all the power so that they, Heritage Foundation, Project 2025, Federalist Society, Israel, billionaire class, corporation, Silicon Valley can make the decisions. They are the ones our politicians represent. They are the ones the politicians work for, not you. But that can never change. I don't know how we change that, but it's certain. Here's what I'll say. I don't have the answer to how we change that completely, but I do know the answer is not disengaging. That's not the answer. The answer is not to just throw your hands up and go, whatever. That's what they want. Exactly. That is true. Wait a second. Tom said, I would say you're like 26 years old, Blakeley. Why? What brought that up? That's random. That's a random comment. What made you think of that, of my age? David said, you can also be certain that the answer is not voting. I didn't say that the answer was voting, brah. Listen, David, I didn't say the answer was voting. I said voting is a tool. It is a tool. It's a tool that is in the toolbox that you should use. That is my position on it. I'm not saying who you have to vote for. I'm not saying voting's the end all be all. I understand that, like, at this late date, it's a little late because they've already won. They've already won. They already destroyed the Supreme Court and corrupted it. They already made unlimited spending in politics and to dark money groups legal. They already had the control from the Israeli regime. And they already sold all of us out to the highest bidder, multinational corporations, foreign governments. And they already stacked the Supreme Court and overturned a bunch of things that would protect your rights. They already won. So yeah, I'm not saying that voting is the answer. I'm saying it's one tool. And I just don't know why you would throw away any of your tools. I'm not going to, but I'm not saying that it's what I'm trying to say is that two things can be true at once. Okay? Not everything is black and white. Not everything is if and or. It can be and. Yes, our system is rigged. Yes, our system is rigged. Yes, they already won. They already won. But one of the reasons why they won is because people disengaged. That's what I'm saying. It's not either if or, it's and. Americans did disengage. Americans did not vote. A lot of Americans, 100 million of them, sat out the election. Understandably, because by then it was a little bit too late too. The Supreme Court is incredibly corrupt. Actually, if you guys really want to know where a lot of this started going downhill, and I could do a long stream about that, it was Bush v. Gore. Some things were corrupt before then, obviously. Some of the first money in politics rulings happened in the 70s. But what really sent us on, the death spiral that we're on, the empire collapse that we're on, it was Bush v. Gore in 2000. So it is an and thing. Everybody should be doing everything they can to change our situation. And voting is simply one tool in that toolbox. It includes protesting. It includes mutual aid. It includes building community with people. It includes finding and founding and doing initiatives that can actually work to change the system. There's a lot. Yes, theater, but that is what I said. I said it's not it either or, it's and. Absolutely, people should be resisting. Absolutely. I will do all of them. I will vote, and I will also continue to protest and continue to resist. But for example, a lot of people will be like, "Oh, well, it sucks that we don't have ranked choice voting or that third parties aren't viable." Well, who's working to change it? No one. No one's actually doing the work of making it so that we get rid of the Electoral College. Well, actually, some people are, but no one is. Basically, what I'm saying is this. You hear some people just be like, all right, guys, it's time for a revolution. Okay, and then what? Because honestly, when it comes to organizing, the left is really behind. If there were a revolution, a violent revolution, the GOP would win. The conservatives would win. They're the ones with the guns. They're the ones with the organized structures. The left doesn't have any of that. You've got to put systems in place first. If you're going to do anything like that, you have to put systems in place first. What has the left done? What systems have we actually put in place to try to make it so that if there is some massive change, we have the infrastructure for it. We have no infrastructure for it. Like, oftentimes, we're so unserious that we'll whine about third parties and then not do anything to try to disrupt the two-party system. Or we'll say we hate the Electoral College, but we don't do anything to try to disrupt that system or change that system. Or we say we're upset about gerrymandering, but we won't do anything to work to change gerrymandering. And then we'll sit back and go, when does the revolution start, guys? Do you have anything in place to protect people should that start? Because I'm telling you right now, if that were to happen, the left would not win. Yeah, we do mock third parties, which is ridiculous. We shouldn't mock third parties. But the people who say, like, we should have third parties, we should actively be working to dismantle the two-party system. Like, we should be working to dismantle the two-party system. A lot of people know what the problem is. Well, that's actually not true. Too many people don't even know what the problem is. But for the people that do know what the problem is, the next question does become, okay, so what do we do now? There are a lot of people that don't vote. There are a lot of people that feel very disenfranchised. There are a lot of people that feel helpless and they don't understand how corrupt our system is. But for those who do understand how corrupt our system is, like I do, then the question is, okay, now what do we do? Like, what do we do? Because just saying revolution isn't going to do anything. All right, so I want to finish going through this JD Vance thing really quick. Just really quick. Before this one more clip, before I show you guys the really hilarious clip of the Zionist lunatic fighting with an activist. Oh, he's such a perfect example of like a fake everyday man hack. Tim Pool. Oh my gosh, Tim Pool is such a hack. You know what I love? That he actually named his thing Culture War Room. Yeah, because that's all he does. Let me tell you something about this hack. All this hack does is, hey, Mouthy, I haven't seen you in a while. Thanks, Mouthy. I have not, first of all, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. And I have not seen you in a while in chat. How do you search your own tweets? Culture War Podcast. What a joke. What a joke. He is a joke. He is a perfect example of a water carrier for the ruling class because he pretends to be. Wait, I thought you could search your own posts. Why can't I search my own posts? No, I want to search my own posts. Why isn't it letting me search my own posts? When I go to search, there should be a way to search my own posts. I don't know why I'm not finding it. Sorry, the reason why I was searching this is because I was looking for I was looking for a meme that I. Oh my gosh, what is wrong with Twitter? Why isn't my meme showing up, bro? This is so rageful. That is so. How do you search replies? Okay, I don't know where it went. That's like so messed up. I know I've posted it in many replies and I've posted it on my own Twitter. I just wish that the search function on Twitter was better because I use Twitter for so much. Videos, photos, like I just wish that their search function was better. I was just looking for a really, really great meme. Oh, I also was asking you guys earlier if you oh, thanks, Mouthy. How do you send support? Thank you for asking, Bader. You can send me support in multiple ways. You can donate directly to my Venmo, which is on my bar, my name. You can join my Ko-Fi, which is like Patreon. It's just becoming a member to support my work. You can donate super chats here. You can become a member. You can become a member here. There's many ways. Okay, anyway, but the point is, I was looking for the picture of Tim Pool where they're pulling the beanie off and it says APAC. I know I posted that on Twitter, which is like so rageful that that it's not letting me search it. Like it should come up in the search. Like it should immediately come up. And I don't see it. Like this is just annoying. This is crazy. That's just crazy. Anyway, that's annoying. I wanted to find the picture. Wow, this is really annoying. I think I posted it on my Instagram a long time ago. Although, do I really want to go that far back to try to find it? Somebody tell Twitter that they really, 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 really need to update and fix their search function. Like you should be able to just search keywords and have them come up on Twitter, on X, whatever. All right, fine. I give up. I tried to find the Tim Pool one. I don't see it, even though I know I also posted it on my Instagram, so I must just be missing it. It's so annoying. It's such a great meme, too. All right. I've spent enough time on this. Yeah. Oh, that's true. Okay. Okay, so anyway, the point I was trying to make, and I got way distracted, I'm sorry, you guys, is that Tim Pool is a hack, and all he does is simp for the billionaire class under the distraction of culture wars. So he talks about culture wars constantly in order to distract from the fact that he's actually just a simp for the billionaire class. That's why he simps for Donald Trump. That's why he simps for Elon Musk. That's why he refuses to criticize the Israeli regime. But he talks about culture war shit in order to distract people. He's just an op. And now he's praising JD Vance. He's such a hack. Oh my gosh. It's just incredible what a hack he is. This might be the dumbest thing that I've ever seen. Universal daycare is a class war against working people. Explain. Bro, of course he gets 50K per stream. Of course he does. He doesn't upset anybody. That's the point. He doesn't talk about anything that would actually upset the powers that be. He simps for the rich. He simps for the billionaire class and the corporations and Israel. Yes, and the reason why he gets so many viewers is because he only engages in culture war shit. When have you seen him talk about the Israeli regime? When have you seen him talk about workers' rights, minimum wage? No, all he does is like bullshit, like trans shit. Things that he knows are going to cause controversy and get clicks, but that don't actually have any impact on your material conditions. Universal daycare would make it so that working class people would be able to afford going to work. You know how expensive daycare is? Daycare is incredibly expensive. This is mad gaslighting. What do you mean universal daycare is a class war on normal people? How? How does it hurt normal people to give them free daycare? Make it make sense. If working people, normal people, had daycare that was paid for, and they didn't need to spend thousands of dollars a month. My sister has 2 kids and she spends over $2,000 a month. And a lot of people spend more on daycare. Some people spend $600 a week on daycare. So giving people universal daycare, how would that be a war on normal people? No. This is the gaslighting that I'm talking about. They take what's true and they flip it on its head. They take what's true and they flip it on its head. If that's what he means, he's also fake. Okay, let's actually say that that's what he means. When he says on normal people, he means like the traditional family with the trad wife. Let's just say, because if he's saying it's a war on normal people, that makes absolutely no economic sense, because it would be extremely helpful for people with kids to not have to pay for daycare. But let's just say that he means it in the way that you're suggesting, Iori, that it's like, oh, it's because it's a war on the trad wife. And, it's just all those lesbian feminists that just want to go to work in corporate America, the kind of Tucker Carlson shtick of like, oh, I just go to my corporate job. Because I'm a feminist and I hate men and I have no kids and I got a bunch of cats. Like, let's say it's that routine. Their economic policies make it so that women can't stay home. Let me say it again for the people in the back and in case there's any MAGA morons in here. The reason why women can't be trad wives is because they can't afford to, because they have to work because of Republican economic policy. Women who want to stay home, who want to be full-time wives, who want to have kids and do the whole conservative family unit routine, can't do so because Republican policies make it impossible for people to buy houses, for people to have children, for people to have daycare. Their policies are a war on the nuclear family. Period. End of sentence. No, Iori, I know you're not saying that. I know. I actually think you make a good point. that I wasn't thinking of. That's probably how they meant it. And if they did mean it that way, they are still frauds because they oppose any policy that would help working people or families. They oppose the child tax credit. They oppose universal daycare. They oppose paid family leave. They oppose raising of the minimum wage. They oppose any policy that would actually help a woman stay at home and be a full-time mom. And they oppose, what they just came out with and freaked out when Biden proposed, which he doesn't mean, a universal cap on housing prices, on rent. They oppose that. They oppose lowering housing costs and rent costs and housing costs for families. How is that going to help women stay home? Do you really think that a lot of women love going to their shitty jobs, their 9 to 5, their corporate jobs? No. And you'll see people like Tucker Carlson, like Tim Pool, like JD Vance rail against the feminist who just goes to her lonely job and goes home to her cats. But then when you actually start to ask them if they support any policies that would change those conditions, they say no. So it's very easy for JD Vance and Tim Pool and Tucker Carlson to rage against the feminists. But then when you say, okay, I'm not a feminist, okay? I'm not one of those cat ladies. I would love to be able to have a husband and have a home and be able to raise children and not have to go into this corporate soul-sucking job. How about you implement some policies that would actually empower me as a wife and a mother to stay home, such as better wages and union protections and caps on rent and affordable housing and universal childcare so that my husband can go out and be the breadwinner? They say, fuck you. They don't support it. No, they want you in the mines. They can do culture war, tap dancing, and bullshit all day long. All they want. Fucking, the woman with her cats. Yeah? Yeah? It's probably because she can't afford to have kids. She can't afford health care. Can't even afford to get pregnant. And her husband is working full-time, and she's working full-time too. So you know what? I want you guys to do me a favor. Next time any of you hear one of those pro-working class culture warriors like Tucker Carlson or Tim Pool or JD Vance or any of the other ones going off about feminism and how women don't even want to get married or stay home anymore, man. Like, what happened to trad wives? The answer is policies every single one of them oppose. If they really cared about the trad wife and the traditional nuclear family, then they would support policies like paid family leave and like the PRO Act, like labor unions, like caps on rent, like affordable housing, like universal pre-K, and like universal paid family leave and the raise of the minimum wage. But do they? No. It's all a fraud, you guys. It's all a fraud. All of that culture war that they do on you, it is all a fraud. Was October 7th the trigger that would lead to a worldwide change, unraveling the truth and exposing? I mean, I think in some ways it has been. I think in some ways it has been. And I think it will continue to be. He's turning the concept of class war against people who actually fight the class war. Exactly. 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 That is exactly what all of them do. That is what JD Vance does. That's what Tucker Carlson does. That is what Tim Pool does. It's what Ben Shapiro does, although Ben Shapiro doesn't even really pretend that he likes workers. It's what, what's his name? The holster fake tough guy. I always forget his name. The Canadian guy. Steven Crowder. It's what all of them do. It's what all of them do. They all pretend to care about the working class. And while doing culture wars, they do culture wars in order to make you think they care about the working class. And then, as you correctly said, they take the concept of class war, Charlie Kirk, him too, And they turn it against the people who are actually being hurt by this class war, by the people trying to fight the class war, by the working people that are actually affected in trying to fight this class war. This is what you call propaganda. It is propaganda that they are using because there is very much a class war. And it is being fought on behalf of the wealthy, by the wealthy and the 1%, against the people that JD Vance is pretending to represent, against the people that Donald Trump pretends to represent. There is a class war, and these are the motherfuckers that are fighting it on behalf of the wealthy. Tim Pool is fighting the class war on behalf of the wealthy against the interests of workers. So let's just be clear about that. America is hard for women. Well, that's really all relative. Have you seen Gaza lately? America's about to get a lot harder for women after Donald Trump wins, but yeah, for real. Charlie Kirk and his giant head. Like Charlie Kirk, he's so embarrassing. Genuinely don't understand how there are people that actually listen to Charlie Kirk. Like, I like how? Why? I don't understand. Yeah, so JD Vance is a fraud. The whole thing is a fraud. The whole hillbilly LEG thing is a fraud. They are all frauds. And they hate you. They hate you. The reason why they use the word elite a lot, you'll hear. This is the last thing I'll say, and then I think we're okay to move on, right? We all get it about JD Vance. But this is the last thing I'll say. The reason why they use the word elite a lot and not capital or corporations or Israel, the reason why they don't is because they use elite vaguely to describe culture, not economic conditions or your living conditions or your rights. That's why they like to use the word elite in a very vague way. They use it in a way that is very like amorphous. They don't ever use words that actually matter, such as corporations, the capital class, CEOs, billionaire owners, billionaires like Elon Musk. They don't use any of those words. Zionists, the Israeli lobby, all the lobbies. They don't use those words because they're not actually fighting for anyone in the regular class, in the working class, any regular people. They are fighting on behalf of Netanyahu. They are fighting on behalf of Israel. They are fighting on behalf of Peter Thiel. They're fighting on behalf of Silicon Valley. They are fighting on behalf of every other corporation. And that includes Donald Trump. That includes Elon Musk. That includes Tim Pool, JD Vance, and all the rest of them. So next time you hear them talking about the elite, ask yourself why they refuse to use any of the other terms. Thank you, Iori. Correct. It's a great way to be vague. Oh my gosh, I saw somebody mention Ian Miles Chong. He's so embarrassing. And I found out only recently that he's not even American. He doesn't even live here. But he's like always trying to meddle in our politics. Like, you don't even go here. And that doesn't mean that I'm not saying that JD Vance bought and owned by Israel. True. I'm not saying that doesn't mean that people who don't live here, who aren't from here, can't comment on our politics. Like, no, of course they can. That's fine. But I think it's weird that he is a insane right-wing simp and a Zionist shill that is constantly only talking about our politics. He only talks about our politics, American politics. And only for one side. Very sus. All right, so, okay. So yeah, please do not vote for JD Vance. Do not let any of your loved ones vote for JD Vance. He is a total hack. Do not vote for Donald Trump. They are liars. They are servants of the capital class and the Israeli regime. Do not get it twisted. Just because Joe Biden is Genocide Joe does not make Trump a better alternative, nor RFK, who we now know is like a dark horse for Donald Trump and also a Zionist lunatic.